Hello, my name is Kaylee Araujo, and I will be talking about the story map 1 that is found in the Education Place website. And one of the reasons why I chose this organizational chart is because it is clear and it talks about the different concepts that are found in a story. And I think that you can adapt it into a preschool setting as long as you use the appropriate materials for it. So this is how the story map looks like online. Of course, I derived it from the website, so it looks like this. It talks about the setting, the time, the place, the characters, the problem, if there are plots or events that happen after the problem is stated, and the resolution. Now, this chart is mainly for students that are able to write, and at a preschool setting, you don't really have most of your students writing. I am able to maybe have students write letters and stuff or words, but when it comes to a preschool setting, they're more visual and kinesthetic learners, and they need to be engaged into the activity in order to get a better response from it. And of course you can include writing into it, but as long as it's appropriate for them. So this chart can be used maybe in a first grade or kindergarten setting, but I also think as is, but I also think that you can adapt it into a preschool setting. And the reason being is because students, I feel like, need to get a feel of what the characters are, what the title of the story is, what the setting is, and other concepts that are found in the story map. So I think that if you can introduce it using this story map and of course adapting it, you can have created a good foundation in literature for these students. And not just literature, because you can address math and other subjects throughout this story map, and I'll explain why. So since you can use this maybe in a large group setting, you can adapt the story map and make it into a large poster with Velcro and have cutouts of the characters and settings and time, and maybe even the problem as stated in the story beforehand. It requires preparation, but I think that if you have or share materials or resources with other teachers, you can have this story map activity prepared, and you can use it to engage your students. I would say that maybe in a large group setting, have already the story read and of course talked about, and then you can break down the different components day by day if you have the time. So you can talk about the setting, and you can have the students have different settings and say, who has the setting of the story? Which one do you think that is the setting of the story? It could be in a farm, in a house, in space, whatever it is that you like to integrate with your students. And then you can also have them engage in the characters. If the story has many characters, you can have the different cutouts among your students and have them try to figure out who the characters of the story is, to recall the story, and to also have each student play a role. And you can use social skills, as in like how did that character feel, express it, talk about it, or maybe act it out, and so you can address different components just using this story map. And so that's in a large group setting. But if you want to go ahead and use it in a small group setting, you can for example take the characters part of the component and have students compare and contrast. Let's compare this character with this character. What is different about this character? What is the same about these two characters? And so you're integrating a math component into literature. And I'm pretty sure that you can go and find different subject areas such as science, art, and so forth. Like if you want to go ahead and maybe have your students in work time, which is the free time that the students get to pick in the different areas. It may be an art area. You can have the students one draw one character and the other one draw another, and then you can maybe use that same piece of art or puppet or whatever they decided to do into dramatic play or block area play, and then maybe you even want to retell the story at the end of your section, and you can have them use these characters that they created their own, and how they visualize it and how they perceived it during their free time. So I think that you can do a lot of activities with just the story map, and maybe even dissect each part with them in the different areas, if they're maybe in small group or maybe in their free time. And so I think that even though this story map is adapted maybe for students that are already writing, you can go ahead and make it your own and adapt it to a preschool setting. And I also think that this is a great way to start and lay that foundation for our students. The students that I serve now are mostly Spanish speaking students, and so this is probably the first time they've had instruction in English and a formal instruction in English. So I think that you can also aid in students that are English learners, excuse me, and have them be more engaged and feel more confident about speaking the language and learning the language, you know. I'd also think that you can use this and you can aid and you can support students by really addressing each individual's need. Like, let's say for example there's a student that is socially shy. That person doesn't like to be engaged in any of large group discussions. When you take it into a small group and you really do a one-on-one with them, you can use the story map and have them go over maybe a concept that you think that they need help in. So I think that it's a great help. I think it's a very organized chart. It's very clear. It's not very abstract, and the only thing that I would say is to make sure that you adjust it and maybe have those clear, concise boxes where students can place the characters or place the problems. You know, if it's more than one problem, have 3 spaces or 4 spaces, however many spaces you need to get a clear visual of what it really is. So that's it. Thank you.